Will scary bikers punch me in the face? Watch this video. Hello, welcome to RevelatorAlf. I hope you're all well. So, some biker myths, some motorcycling myths is you go somewhere and some scary, big, scary, hairy, greasy biker is going to come over to you and punch you right in the chops. Now, I might have a face that you want to punch, of course, but I'm really talking about somebody just coming up to an innocent person and just laying one on them. That's never going to happen. I could almost guarantee that's never going to happen. Nobody is going to go up to somebody totally innocent and do something. Now, obviously, if you're causing trouble going into a motorcycle establishment, a biker bar, whatever it is, or a biker rally, whatever it is, and you're causing trouble, you're being offensive, you're trying to chat up another bloke's girlfriend or wife or whatever it is, then obviously, you're asking for trouble. Even in that situation, usually you should be able to get yourself out of it just by backing away and apologizing, that kind of thing. But if you don't, if you kind of just persist in this arrogant behavior, then obviously it's going to attract negative attention. If you watch my videos recently about, confidence and putting out positive vibes and getting positive vibes back, but also conversely, negative vibes and you'll get negative vibes back. It stands to reason, right? We all kind of know this. But is it likely that you're going to get punched in the face by some biker? Well, as I say, if you cause trouble, if you're doing something wrong, you probably would do. Now, obviously, again, there's another aspect to it. It really depends how public this area is. In terms of, is it a biker bar, whatever, or is it a closed party, or is it, by invitation only? Because if it's a closed party, then it's more likely to get it's more likely to spin out of control into physical confrontation. But if it's in a public area, it's less likely. That's not to say it won't, because as we know, fights break out all the time. Doesn't matter where you go, but it's less likely. But again, if you're in somebody's face or you're causing trouble, then yeah, there's a good chance that somebody could come up to you. But I've never seen somebody get into trouble or being punched by somebody for doing nothing. And that's not to say it can't happen in the motorcycle world, in the bike world. You go to a biker bar, a biker rally, whatever. Somebody just takes an instant disliking to you and they come over to you, just spin you around and lay one on you. Of course it can happen. Anything is possible. But the chances of it happening are so remote. And the problem is that in the motorcycle world and in the biker world, and I say from the outside, I'm saying looking in, you kind of think, well, it can be a bit intimidating, I suppose, for some people, or they just don't feel, or they think that these people, this group of people, are rough and they're tough and they're scary and all the negativity that you can associate with any group of people, right? Until you actually get to know them. And then once you get to know them, or you're within that world, regardless of what aspect of the motorcycling community, the motorcycling world you want to consider, whether you're into bike rallies, whether you're into motorcycle racing, whatever, it doesn't really matter. Once you're in it, then you kind of understand, you can see what it is, because people are just people. As I keep on trying to say to people, it doesn't matter what somebody dresses like, it doesn't matter what their personal tastes or preferences are. People are people at the end of the day. And the same rules apply in terms of the way you handle yourself, the way you deal with issues, and the way you deal with people and interact with people. So that's no different. But just because somebody looks in a certain way, they look scary, it doesn't mean anything. It's the way somebody handles themselves. Now, there is, I suppose, a bit of a reputation, a bit of, again, from the outside, that people who, are into motorcycles, are into bike lifestyle, that kind of thing, there's a bit of a rough, tough bravado about it. There's a kind of a rough, tough appearance about it. And that might be the case, and maybe some people play up to that as well. There's no doubt. I mean, there's a lot of play acting is probably the wrong word, but there's a lot of people who take on the role. They put on the leather jacket, they put on the biker clothes in inverted commas, and they kind of take on a bit of a persona as well. Though they start talking quite tough. I've seen it happen. And if you're saying you've never seen it happen, you're probably not opening your eyes and ears enough, because it does happen. And usually these people are a bit of an embarrassment to themselves, but it can happen. But But it isn't really about that. It's never really been about that. Now, there are certain rules within the motorcycle world, and there are certain things we feel very strongly about, very passionate about. So maybe that toughness, that resilience comes from a lot of that, from shared thinking, from shared ideals, from shared goals, let's say. But in terms of just being intimidating to other people who are just perfectly innocent, no, I mean, you know, they're the nicest people you're going to want to meet. You go into places, nobody's going to hassle you, nobody's going to say anything to you, you know, especially if you go in there by yourself or you're a good lady, you know, just sitting in a corner, whatever, minding your own business. Nobody's going to say anything to you. Now, the chances are that, let's just say some greasy, scary biker comes up to you and punches you in the face, and you are perfectly innocent, you haven't done anything wrong, then I think it will get resolved very, very quickly from everybody else around that could say, actually, hold on, this guy or girl is completely innocent, you're so out of order. And they'll take it out on him, the offending person. But again, it's so, I've probably seen that once or twice in, you know, 40 odd years of biking, you know, 45 years of biking. That was so many years ago that it was just, you know, it's not even a statistic. You know, yes, there have been fights. Of course, there are fights in all sorts of parts of society, of course. And a lot of times, people ask for it. In fact, these days, I would say people are a lot more reserved than they used to be. I remember years ago, people would just be throwing hands at anything, really. But it seemed to be a lot more reserved now. And I think that's a lot to do with the society's change, but also lots to do with the way people are and also the consequences of that as well. And we know what the consequences can be for people, especially if people get injured. Then you can face criminal prosecutions and civil prosecutions as well. So, you know, people are a lot more sort of chilled about this kind of thing these days, but it's not to say it won't happen, of course. So there are a lot of biking myths out there. There are a lot of myths surrounding the motorcycle world in general, and the way, you know, everybody's rough and tough and everything. It's not that. People are just people, and they're really nice people. They just like riding bikes, and they wear leather clothing or, you know, big bulky clothing because it's kind of protective clothing as well. I mean, that's part of the gig, right? But to say some big old bikers are going to come and punch you in the face just because you go to a place like this, again, even if you're in the wrong place, you haven't been invited to a private party and you just find yourself in there, lots of people may eye you up. Lots of people may even come up to you and ask you. And if you can just explain yourself why you're there, then most people are going to be absolutely fine. There's no issues. But obviously, if you're there and you're not supposed to be there, then it's just like being at any private function. You're going to be asked to leave or lifted up and thrown out. Depends how resilient you are to their suggestions, of course. But anyway, as I say, I've never come across any kind of hostility to somebody who hasn't deserved it. Let's put it that way. If you like what I do here, keep on watching videos. Don't forget you can go to the website RevelatorAlf.com for all the books, motorcycle books and everything else. Motorcycle clothing, merchandise, it's all there. And with that, catch you again in another video coming very soon. Bye now.